Hey, welcome to another show of Voices in the Struggle. I'm your main man, Big Ant.
And I'm Brother Reggie.
Brother Reggie, I almost forgot that. We got a very special show for you tonight. We are talking about the Black Union and the importance of the Black Foundation. Previously, we had the males on talking about what men want. We've had single women on talking about what women want. Now we're going to ask these couples who've already been married to talk about their union. So let's give a small introduction. Let's start with Dwayne and Barbara Foster.
Good evening, kings and queens. My name is Dwayne. This is my lovely wife named Barbara. We've been married for almost 14 years, together for 18. We're currently living right outside of Richmond, Virginia. And I have a few things going on. Retired military veteran like Anthony, but I have a few businesses. I have a clothing line, All Gas, No Breaks. I also have a nonprofit organization where I give back and I mentor youth. It's called Iron Sharpens Iron for Life. And I also work with small business groups, small businesses, Black-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, and help them start them up. And it's called Fostering Forward Thinking Minds. And then I also have one company that I deal with short-term real estate, which is called Fostering Forward Thinking Realty. And just basically trying to give back to the community and Blacks and empowering us and just, trying to be a positive role model and impact.
You got 100 job mind.
Stay busy, brother. You know how we do.
Way to give back, brother. Way to give back. So, brother, ask Kura and his lovely wife. I don't want to mess it up, please.
Oh. I'm the also the head of our business, Shape for Life. We naturally manufacture body care products, soaps, insects, candles, so forth. And this wonderful woman right here.
Can you speak up just a little bit for me?
I said I'm Morinike, and I head up our other business, which is a problem wellness, where we provide services in the beginning of neighborhood. So I am a licensed consultant as well as a birth and postpartum doula and
Awesome.
Her mic is a little, might have to talk a little bit better because your mic was a little muffled.
Oh, is that better?
Yes, better now.
Okay. Do I need to repeat it or?
You can.
Yeah, go ahead.
I said my name is Morinike, and I head up our other business, which is Aquaba Wellness. You can find us at aquabawellness.com, and I provide services to families when they're at the beginning stages of their development.
Uh-oh.
Seems like they froze.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
froze. Okay, it'll come back. It'll come back. Who we got next? Oh, hold on. They back. Hold on. Y'all back? Yeah. Okay, they can hear us.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Next, let's go with a couple who needs no introduction. We're just going to do it for the heck of it. Mr. Julius Hall, Mr. Savannah himself, and Dr. Tanya Howard Hall.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Julius Hall. I'm CEO and president of All Things Relevant Consulting and All Things Relevant Media. You can find us on Facebook at All Things Relevant Media, and you can find us on YouTube at all ATR Black Media Network. Like, follow, and share. My wife is
Dr. Tanya Howard Hall. I'm a retired educator of 32 years, been retired now for six or 7 years. I'm currently serving as a school board representative for the Savannah-Chatham County Public School System, and it's just a pleasure to be here.
Miss Dr. Hall, don't say you retired. Just say you stopped working because you're still out there doing the whole lot. So we have Brother Reggie and his lovely wife Lavanya. I feel like a third wheel tonight.
What's going on?
Hey, I have a question. You text me tomorrow. Let's get our wives on. You know what I'm
saying? She didn't get off the road. She didn't get off the road on time, man.
The warden let you out. She ain't coming. Hey, like I say, y'all know I'm Brother Reggie, part of Voicez In The Struggle. It's my lovely wife, Lavanya Lewis. You know, introduce yourself. Say
hey.
Hey.
Okay.
That's it. Hey, I got a question before we get started now.
Yes,
now, the holes, I like that piano in the back. That's a real piano, but that's a background.
She plays the piano.
What?
We're not gonna say you come over to the house, we'll let you know whether you could go play it or not.
All right. Hey, when the COVID off, we coming over to the house and we get hear some songs or something.
Yeah, we have something about once every other month or so. I got ice in my mouth. But no, that's a background.
Yeah.
I got
if you get a green screen, you can have a piano too.
Yeah.
All right. So the very first question is, I know maybe two different stories now, because I can tell you my wife was just all over me and just sweating me. But I can say that she ain't here. No. But how did you guys meet? Let's start with my brother Ash Kura and his lovely wife Mornike. I get that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Right. Look at that. Where's Sarah, Mr. Maybe? MIA.
We definitely have two different stories on how we met. But the story is we met at a spiritual retreat, and when we met at that spiritual retreat, we both realized that this wasn't our first time. We felt like we had known each other before. But the way he tells it is different.
It just felt natural, huh?
Yeah. And
it felt natural.
What's your story, bro?
I was told not to speak upon my side of the story.
It's
okay,
it's funny.
All right, okay. Now, I seen her and one of her sisters, talking with this other brother. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm trying to figure out, hey, they laughing, having fun, and I'm sitting there by myself like, what? I walk up to them, I ask them, what we laughing about? And I kind of insert myself into the conversation. Next thing I know, I wake up with my head hurting, rubbing this knot on my head and the ring on my finger.
Like we was talking about earlier, huh? Okay, I got it. I feel you.
All right, Brother Foster and Miss Barbara.
Hello, everyone. So our story, like Mornike, is the same. It's two different stories, but we met at a nightclub. I was at the bar ordering something to drink, and he just basically called the bartender to him to get something to drink. So I grabbed him by his arm and said, "Hey, it's rude. You don't do that." And I told the bartender to serve me and my girlfriend. And so afterwards, he asked me to dance. And I was like, "No, I don't want to dance with you." And he continued to ask. And so my girlfriend said, "Well, go ahead and dance with him because, he bought you a drink." I said, "No, he did not buy me a drink. I bought my own drink." And so
Let me clear that up.
I finally danced with him once. And then he asked me for my number, and I said, "No, I don't give my number out, but I'll take yours." And he was like, "Are you going to call me?" And I said, "Yes, I'll call you." I called him a month later, and the
Wow.
rest is history.
Talk about the waiting game.
Yeah, she was tough from the beginning. That's about right. I think Anthony's about the time frame that we were on the trailer instructing. So I didn't get out much. So I got up to Richmond and went to this. It wasn't a nightclub. It was a hotel with a little bar in the front. So it was like a bar type thing, but not a nightclub. So I did, bump her in the line, and it from there took about a month. And because it took a while, you remember that storm, that really bad hurricane we had that came through? That's the time frame I met her. So
okay. We went down
there
road.
doing that. So I actually, she called me, and then I talked to her, and I got a number. I saved it, and I called her and checked on her during the storm, and from there we've been inseparable from that.
All right.
Like a good movie, don't it? That's what I'm talking about. Hold on. I like these first two stories. Go ahead. Who next?
Let's go right there, Jamelva. How did you guys meet?
Okay. So I'll go first. We initially met. Actually, Anthony's twin brother was moving, and Jamelva was staying in an apartment across the way from him.
She sure.
And so, yeah, you remember that, right? And so, he had been staying there for some years, and I had never saw Jamelva. And so on this particular day, like this was the last day he was in the apartment, we were moving him out, and she came outside. And then I was like, "Yo, who was that?" And she walked by, and I talked to her, and we exchanged numbers. And that night, or maybe a few nights later, we wound up talking on the phone for like 3 to 4 hours, and we haven't stopped talking since.
Ooh-wee.
Hey, that's how it is.
Yeah,
so y'all share that same story?
Absolutely. What I can give you the inside or my piece of the story was that I saw Rodney outside and had never seen him. And again, our cousin was moving, and I saw him, and I was like, "Well, who is that?" So he didn't know till later that I had no trash to take out, but I found some magically in my just anything to get outside to see this
the whole thing.
I was like, "Let me get this."
She engineered it.
I had to do what I had to do, ladies. And yep, he put a ring on it.
it worked, huh?
But it was so crazy because had I not come and help Aaron move, we probably would have never met, because that was the last day that he was there. And so if it was one more day or a few more hours, then this union probably would not have been, unless God saw it.
Queen.
God saw it fit. It's gonna be. But yeah, that was how it went. Yeah, we was locked and loaded ever since. We just been right here.
that is awesome. You grabbed your fake bag of trash and start walking slow to the trash.
I did what I had to do, and
I was wondering why that big bag was so empty.
Nothing in there.
Heard that one.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, this is the stuff that young people need to hear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's true.
Brother Reggie, go ahead.
Oh, you want me to go ahead? I'm gonna let her go ahead since I'm the host. Go ahead. How we met? Yeah.
Work.
Yeah, we work in the same building. So this is my little story. So when I first met her, right, she was that. I always thought she was that Black Power sister type. The look she had, I was like, hey, that's what that girl right there. You know what I'm saying, she probably black. I don't need that way, Right. That's it. So we met a long time ago, about 3-4 years ago. About 3-4 years ago, yeah. So I seen her from a distance. You know how one of them things, brother, a woman don't look at you. Mm-hmm. She see you, but she don't see you. So that's one of them things. All of a sudden she seen me. and like, okay, we cool now. We met at we met at the elevator in the new VA building. That's when we finally met. She finally seen me then.
Okay.
No. See, something different. No, we actually talked the first time because used to see him like park his car. We used to park our car next to each other at the job, but we actually talked and had a conversation. We went to Jalapenos where one of the coworkers was leaving, and everybody was invited to come and eat. And we actually met there, and we actually talked there. That's the first time that we had a conversation.
Two different stories.
Now, she's right, brother. She's right.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
right.
that's a good comment.
Okay.
That's her story. She's sticking to it. That's how we're gonna do this. So last the Halls, how did y'all meet?
Huh?
I said last night the Halls, how did y'all meet?
Yeah.
Did you?
I was a high school cheerleader, and to tell you how long ago it was, the cheer went, I say D, YNOMITE, we fight like Shaft, like Slaughter, like Sue Blaster. That's a long time ago. And
I don't even know what you said.
Let me fight like Shaft, like Slaughter. But anyhow, this underclassman, he just was mesmerized by me. And I would see this underclassman walking past my house. He had all this hair back then. He thought it was Michael Jackson. He would take the long cuts so just this week and walk past my house.
Right.
And then maybe some 35 years later, he found me on Facebook, and the rest is history.
Let me tell y'all a real story. We met 35, we met 42 years ago in high school. I ain't telling you my age. I'm 36, she 56. You can tell. But so she 2 years older than me. And so I was just mesmerized with this girl with the big butt.
1 year old.
So I said, "Ooh, wow." Her brother and I were in the same class. So I kept finding reasons to tell Theron, hey, I'm gonna stop by your house today. But she wouldn't pay me no attention. I even went and got her a hamburger one day, brought it back to her, and she said, I'm thinking I'm gonna get a kiss or something in high school, She said, okay, keep going. So, but yeah, we met in high school.
Okay.
But, we're married 7 years now.
Okay. Beautiful thing. Yeah. Okay. Now, no particular order. Just answer how you want to answer. Now, name one thing you absolutely love about your partner. Anybody?
Okay, the one thing I love about him is that he takes care of his kids. He loves his kids. He takes care of family, friends. He's a total giver to any and everybody, which I absolutely love. He's been like that from day one. I could just say it, not necessarily need it or want it, and he would get it. And it's the same way with family and friends. They may say they want to do something or need something, and he'll just put the works in motion and start doing it for them and making sure that it happens.
Okay.
I'll echo that. And I think that's one of the things we have. I know that's one of the things we have in common. We're both givers, and we are family first. So our thing is God, family, then us, ourselves. And she's the same way I am. Just maybe not as vocal as I am with it, but if I want something, but when I think it, she gets it, and she's all about family first and just family, And
awesome.
It's what it's all about. We got a very similar upbringing as far as family dynamics, and wasn't perfect. Everything wasn't perfect, but we wanted to change that for our families and our legacies going forward, and we both share that. Making it our children and going forward and pushing forward for our children, our grandchildren, that they have it better and they didn't go through some of the things we went through. I think that's one of the things I really most admire about her.
Okay. Anybody else want to speak on it?
I can go next. So, in these past 14 years, one thing that I've really grown to admire, we met on a spiritual, so it was at a spiritual retreat. The fact that had that in alignment. It's so special to me because it's kind of hard to find that at times, in alignment spiritually. But then also he's such a nurturer. If I'm sick, if any of us are going through anything, he's immediately preparing us food, making sure we have like whatever concoctions of teas that he may come up with to make sure we get better. He's just a full nurturer, and I love that.
Beautiful. Yeah.
A blessing. I'd like to also speak to the fact that my husband is absolutely a giver. We've been for 19 years and we've grown up together in essence. My husband is the type of person that if it needs to get done, he's going to do it. He's going to figure out a way to do it. And it's not necessarily me asking anything. It's what needs to be done. He's jumping in there. He's in there. He's an excellent, just a person to confide in. He's an excellent friend. He's an excellent friend to our children. He's an excellent son. Like, it's just so many people. He's a great nephew. He's a great cousin. He's an honest man. He's a hard-working man. He's a fair man. And it just makes him just a beautiful king in my eyes. He's always been that. And it's a blessing. It's a blessing when I tell you he's just the most real person that I know. And he's the most giving and honest person that I know. And he'll jump into it and he'll try to help anyone.
Good job, Mom. The bag is on the way.
That already been secured. That been secured. It's real talk, like for real. Like, yes, I have an amazing husband.
Yeah, no, I definitely, first of all, appreciate that. But what I admire most about my wife is she's never met a stranger. And talking about somebody that's friendly and giving, somebody who started fundraisers from, we're talking about feeding the kids with Mercy Drop to starting fundraisers with the Cancer Association. So just doing things like that. She's a beautiful person. And I think we balance and we equal each other out perfectly. She's more vocal where I'm not. She's more hot-headed, one more calm. So it's a nice balance, and I think that's important for any relationship is to have that balance. Because if you have two people of the same kind, of the same fiery spirit or the same calm spirit, and it's not balanced out, it's going to lean to one side. So,
okay, beautiful thing. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. This guy that's right here. One thing that I love the most about her is that her devotion towards nation building, and not just as a whole nation building, but she finds solutions to fundamental issues that bring growth and enhancement to the nation. And
he's my best friend. I mean, I have a girlfriend that's a good friend, but I can talk to him about whatever. Okay. Even if we disagree, we can still work through our disagreements. And I just really appreciate that I have someone in my life that I can have that type of communication with and closeness with. And it's divine for me, because I have been in situations where I did not have that. This is my second marriage. And so I really, really appreciate the fact that I have that.
Okay. That's good stuff. I like that. The whole, how y'all doing?
Yes, I would have to say this his perseverance. For people that know him, he has an awesome testimony. He has resilience. He is strong. He's been through some things that people could not have gone through and come out shining as he did. He's been through the fire, but as gold, when you put gold in the fire, before it becomes gold, it has to go through the fire. And that's what he's done. If I had to use an animal to describe him, I would say at times he can be a roaring lion. He's bold, courageous, and he doesn't really care what comes out of his mouth. If it comes from his heart, it's going to come out of his mouth. And at the same time, on the other hand, he's a lamb. He's a gentle, kind-hearted, humble person. Some people might not believe that, but he really is. And what we have in common is our love for community, our love for children. Now, we are totally opposite. He is, I consider, as an alpha man, and I am an omega woman. But I know how to get my alpha man to give me anything and everything that I want. So opposites attract. And I can also say he's like a firecracker, and I'm the flaming candle.
Yeah.
All right.
So that brings good balance because it takes a candle to light that firecracker.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. And she's my balance, because if anybody knows me, I do say what I feel. I'm not gonna hold it back. You just got to accept it for what it is. If you don't like it, then deal with it. And she's my balance. She's my spiritual balance, really. So, not that I'm not spiritual, I am very much. It's just that she's really that spiritual balance that gives me that even keel to tell me, okay, back off for a second. So.
Yeah.
You have to stay prayed not to be mad at you yourself.
That's it. And let me I'm gonna say one thing about my wife. I think she makes me a better person, because she puts demands on me. Sometimes I don't like, but she makes me a better man. I would say that, because she puts those demands on me for being a man, which she needs from me. So it's times I don't want to do that, but she put those demands on me. But at the end of it, after that, I meet the demand, or try to meet the demand, or I show them I'm striving to. See, you know what I'm saying? That makes me better, because I learn from it. I want to say that about it. You know, thank you. All right, so we got a lot of questions. We ain't got much time. So let's go to the next question. This one: how do you show love to each other? What's in your eyes? I'm saying, what's showing love? What do you do to show love to your partner, your friend, your wife, your husband?
I apologize real quick. My wife had to step away, talk to my son, but she'll be right back. But I'll go ahead and start the question. That question. One of the ways that we show love is just by being with each other, and especially with COVID going on now, we spend a lot of time at home watching movies and doing things, karaoke and stuff that we didn't do before. We spent a lot more time out with other people. But the biggest way we show our love is just being amongst each other and each other's presence around each other, and it doesn't really matter what it is. It's not about traveling or and nothing, elaborate. Just being around each other, and whatever comes up, we talk about it. Good or bad. If it's the kids, if it's work, and just being around each other and talking. Real, keep it real simple. With everything going on in this world, sometimes you just gotta dumb it down and be simple with things.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
One of the ways that I know that we have both shown each other love is we're both entrepreneurs, and so we support each other in our businesses. When we started the Shape of Life, I know that I don't know how to make one thing, but I was out there selling everything I could. And it's just, we support each other in our businesses. My business, he tells people what I do. I teach classes. He helps me with developing the classes. And he encourages me. My biggest cheerleader. It's just, sometimes, you don't feel like you can get it done. I can definitely depend on him saying, you can do this, you got this. And that just really, that support makes me feel loved in so many ways.
And I appreciate the honesty I get from you. If I'm flubbing up, she has her diplomatic and discreet way of saying I'm flubbing up, unless I'm really just out there. If I'm really out wilding out and I'm out there, of course she's smacking me back in the head, and say, you gotta reground yourself and whatnot. But the words of encouragement, and just being present. We've been together, 14, 15 years. And so, we've had a lot, we had plenty of crossroads and opportunities to go our separate ways, but we've made the choice to navigate those situations and how we could improve and make things better. We both, neither of us claim to be perfect in any shape, form, or fashion. It's just that we've gotten better at using our tools. And that's how we show each other love and show ourselves love.
Absolutely.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
I'd like to speak to the fact of how we show each other love. I know for one that just being present in the moment is a gift that you cannot get. You cannot put a monetary denomination. You cannot put that on it. And I will say that we work outside the home and within the home, but our time together is paramount. We don't allow anything to come in between that. We still date each other. I don't care if it's a picnic in the living room and we light candles. I like to cook for him, my husband. Just taking care of him and knowing that he's needed and what he needs. I anticipate his needs. He anticipates my needs. Therefore, just, face to face with that and being present in the moment, knowing what's necessary for one another. And that's how love language communicate in that way and not say words sometimes, but we know how to get each other right in the pocket and take care of one another. It's so important, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, being present and grounded. That's it.
Yeah, I think for me, love is an action word. So you can say love you all the time, but you could be treating a person like trash.
Right.
So I think once you're able to show love and how we show the little things, whether it's putting the toilet paper on the right way, whether it's, warming the carpet before she goes to work to make sure she's not in a cold vehicle, putting gas in the vehicle, taking care of the home, making sure she's protected, making sure she's comfortable. So I think it's the little things. And again, it's an action word, so you have to show love.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody else want to?
Julius and I, we have a blended family, and one of the most important things I think, and I would say, is the love that we have for our children. I love his children just as much as he loves my children. We show love for our blended family. We consider ourselves as one family. We don't look at anything as being a step daughter or stepson. It's just our daughter and our son. And what's most important though is the love of God, because how can you love anybody if you don't love God? So God is definitely the foundation of this marriage. And another important factor is the balance that we have, because he can be hot-headed. When he goes off, he goes all the way off. But I can calm him down. I let him, but I'm there to calm him down. Then on the other end, I'm the opposite. I can take and take and take, and he say, "Oh, no, you need to stand up. Do this. You need to fight." So he gives me the fire when I need the fire, and then I give him the cold water to put his fire out, so that we can have that great balance.
Balance.
Yeah. I guess my wife and your wife probably say that about both of us. When we go, we just go. I think what it is the support, the understanding, and then understanding that sometimes you don't need it, but sometimes you want space so you can do things. And that's what we give each other. She might be in there watching cowboy movies. I hate cowboy movies. She might be in there watching Andy Griffith. I hate Andy Griffith. I done seen it since I was a kid. But I understand that she likes that kind of stuff. So it's understanding what she likes. And she's understanding and gives me the support, because I might be in the studio till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And so she understands that. She knows that I got to go all the time. Huh?
Government mixtape.
Yeah, government mixtape.
Love and happiness, huh? We mix our green stuff.
Yeah. Hey, so what's up? If you just tuned in, you're listening to Voices in the Struggle on All Things Relevant Media. Every Sunday at 7 p.m. we will be right here. Make sure you go on Facebook, YouTube, allthingsrelevantmedia.com. If you can't spell it, then don't worry about getting on it, because we don't want you. But other than that, allthingsrelevantmedia.com. Voices with the Z in the Struggle every Sunday, 7 p.m. right here. Thank you.
Right.
Hey, brother, we love the illiterate people too, man.
Huh?
We love the illiterate people too, man.
And we do, man. That was a joke, man.
Just tell them to copy it and paste it in the link.
There you go. Copy and paste.
Use that smartphone.
Yeah.
So the next question is, how important is sex in a relationship or marriage? Now, man, I don't want you to get in trouble on this one now.
No, you're fine.
Anybody want to start?
I'll start.
Go ahead.
Man, it's an interesting question, and so the response to this is just, we're answering this question the way in which I see things is this is a relationship which, to get to the depth in which we've allowed it to get, it requires a bonding and a sacrifice that you can't have with any other relationships. Even the relationship you have with your parent or your best friend or so forth. It requires a ritual or sacrifice to enhance that connection. And sex is one of those ways in which, actually, I'm not going to say one of those ways, but that is one of the most impactful ways of enhancing that connection or bond. So if sex and or appropriate intimacy, of course there's things that happen biologically or by accident where the physical act of sex may not be there, but still that ritual, that
experience, that connection that you can have, it doesn't have to be sex. Actually, it can be sexual though, and that can happen to help enhance your relationship. It can happen, to help to bring more joy into your relationship, to bring more pleasure into your relationship. You can solve some of your issues sexually, but that doesn't mean that sex has to be at the forefront of your relationship. It has a place in the relationship, and it's going to ebb and flow. Because as we're getting older, we notice that there's an ebb and flow in the sexual energy. But that doesn't mean that sex becomes a back burner. It has to be something that you really, you continuously court, that you continuously involve, those looks, those touches, just all of those things that can create that sexual energy. It doesn't even have to mean that it ends up in sex. It can end up in cuddling or hugging or kissing. Great if it ends up in sex, but it doesn't happen.
And you're talking about one of my questions. I wanted to get into it now, but is there a difference between sex and intimacy? So that's what you're kind of talking about too.
Yeah, let's get into that one. Let's get into that one. That's a good question. That's a great question. Yeah.
I mean, from my perspective, and I can't speak for all women, of course, but from my perspective, they really work hand in hand. I'm not that type of person that, some people can do that, but I prefer those intimate moments, those connections, and just to be able to connect with one another and then take it to a more physical level. It really enhances the sexual experience if you've been intimate. Doesn't mean that as a couple you may not have those moments where you're not having that enhancement, and that's okay too, because you're a couple, you're together, you can have moments where, I just want to have sex with my husband. It's nothing, I didn't mean anything else, just want to have sex. You don't have to have that intimacy and all those different things. But I think it is an important factor. I just don't think it's like the only factor in a relationship.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that there's a distinct difference between having sex and making love. I think making love is more spiritual. I think once you are able to, and we'll throw intimacy in there as well. Once you're able to be intimate with the person, you can either have sex, and I think as a married couple, you should be able to do all three: have sex, be intimate, and make love. Because sometimes, as the sister said, that you just want to have sex, and that's just it. And as men, we just want to. And this is an adult show. We just want to show that we still got it. You know what I mean? we just want to have sex at that point in time. No disrespect to our queens. That's all love. And I think again, as a married couple, you're in those boundaries to be able to do those.
Exactly.
But I also think that it's a spiritual journey that you partake in when you make love, you're intimate with your spouse. I think that, that's why it's important for these young girls to understand that you just can't give your spirit to anybody. You have to cherish your spirit. Your spirit is special. That's a gift from God. You know what I mean? So you can't take that and just issue it out to anybody, because as you know, when you have sex with a person, you all exchange spiritual contact.
Exactly.
Well, left inside of you as well as vice versa. So you have to be conscious of what you're doing when you are having sex with someone.
That's right.
They stay with you for a long time. Spirit stay with you for a long time.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
They move in and don't move out.
Soul ties. That's soul ties. That's yeah.
Yeah.
Something my husband, if I could just interject, something my husband said when we first got married, and talking to our children, he explained to them about treating their bodies as an altar or a shrine. And so you wouldn't just let anyone sit things and be a part of your altar or your shrine that you consider sacred. So you don't allow anyone to just be a part of your body. And we've taught that to our girls. We have 4 daughters. We've taught that to our daughters, and throughout, since we've been together, and we appreciate it as a man, him sharing that analogy.
Yeah, I think the children need to know that. We need to tell our children that sex is a powerful thing. I think we tell our daughters, be virtuous and all that good stuff, because we want to see our daughters out there on the pole or something like that, doing something like that. But our sons, we tell them go get as much as you want to. But hey, we sending them out there in the world to destroy somebody's daughter. So we got to be conscious of what we're telling our children.
Absolutely true.
Now let's switch to something I want to ask about. Now, how do you communicate with your spouse when you mad at each other? You're going through something, and things ain't going right. How do you communicate with each other during those times?
Brother, you try to start an argument.
You trying to burn it down?
Yeah. Man, don't say what's in your mind.
Everything.
Well,
because I'm a hothead.
I would say
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
off trying to. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. We start off trying to talk when we're mad. It starts off with a calm conversation. However, sometimes it leads to us not really listening. And listening is an important part of communicating and making sure that, you understand what your partner is saying. And sometimes we get hung up on those little words. And at that point, for me, when he's hung up on those little words, I have to stop the conversation. And I stop the conversation because now I'm getting angry because you're not listening. And then it's every time I want to inject something while you're making a comment. And I don't like that. Let me say what I have to say. Then you repeat back to me what I said. So I can make sure you understood. When that doesn't happen, I have a problem. So I think for me, you have to be able to listen as well as, speak once that person has said what they had to say, and make sure you understand that what they're saying, because sometimes the intent behind what you're saying is misconstrued. So if I stop the conversation, I'll come back later and say, okay, the reason why I stopped this conversation is because it was going to the left and I didn't want to go that way. I don't want to say things that I can't take back, because once you say it, you can't take it back and the person always remembers it.
Yeah.
So I'll stop it so that we can continue at a later time. That's how I communicate with him. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I do a whole lot more listening than talking so that I can make sure when I do go back, you know, hey, here's what I heard you say to me.
And
Awesome.
I agree with what she said. I agree with that. And I'm getting better with that. I think that, you know, I'm an alpha person, alpha male. And we think we can do everything. And for a long time in my life and in my relationship, that I thought I can listen and talk, but I really realized like later that I gotta listen. I gotta just be quiet and listen because I miss a lot of stuff when I'm trying to communicate and talk. And if I listen and calm and then come back, it's a whole lot better than me trying to communicate, like you said, and missing the things and saying little things I don't mean to say because I'm not really getting the points. The things I need to be listening to, because sometimes it be the smallest little things you have disagreements about. It don't really mean nothing, but you get to just getting in your feelings and start talking and you blow it up, and then now like, whoa, where did this go? Now you're not talking for whatever, or you got that negative energy walking around the house, and then you got to come back and got to fix that. So just listening, being silent, praying, we pray, and just like, hey, it ain't that serious. So.
Yeah, that's right. Rob, go ahead. I knew you were saying something.
I'm getting better, right?
I'm probably the biggest hothead I know. And when that fire get lit and it gets fanned, in the past it's been explosive. And so one of the things I've learned to do is to shut up when I'm really just kind of, when I'm starting to get upset, when I'm starting to feel violated. I just shut up for one. And then I strive to center and balance myself so that I can determine what is the true issue. And then once I figured out what the true issue is, then I can more diplomatically, without being lazy with my words and using catchphrases, describe what my issue is. What?
Oh, I was just going to say that, and he has really worked on that over the years. And I can definitely see that there's been so much of a difference in level of going from 0 to 10 has changed since we started doing it. And for me, lots of times, I have to also just be quiet because I have found through our communication that sometimes I want to have the last word. So I've been really working on not having the last word, just really listening and paying attention to what's being said. And then we also started doing something new. We did it in the beginning of our relationship and it kind of stopped. And now we brought it back where we're writing down as we're taking notes during our conversations so that we can refer back to it. And actually, by taking notes, it kind of settles down because when you're writing out what the other person is saying, so you may ask them, yes, like active listening. That's very good. Someone just put. You're writing down what they're saying, so it helps you to kind of calm down if you write it down. And we also, one thing that we adopted early on in our relationship is to agree to disagree. And sometimes that can be the best tool, as long as it's not something major. We're like, okay, well, you see it that way, I see it this way. And
so how do we move forward from there?
Yeah, we can compromise if it needs to be a compromise. Or, we could be talking about a favorite food or our favorite place or what have you. So if I say my favorite place is here and his is here, we could disagree. If it's something that's going to impact our lives, then we sit down and say, okay, so how do we come to some type of impact with compromising, and we can both receive kind of what we're looking for. We might not get all that we want, but at least we can be okay with it.
And one other thing that we kind of ran across is that I know as men we step into this trap, whereas we do. Okay, I do that too. Where we will we do that thing that's most natural to us is to solve problems. And what I've gotten to a habit of asking is, when she comes to me with something, before I open my mouth, I'm asking, do you want comfort or do you want a solution?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That way I know if she just wants me to pet her up, or if she really wants, she's coming to me with a problem.
And I want to kind of say that beforehand. I'm just venting. I just want you to listen, and I just want to vent. And that has cut down on a lot of our disagreements, because he's like, oh, well, she was venting. She don't, because sometimes I already know the answer. I already have solved it in my head how I'm gonna handle it. I just want to vent it out, and then he'll start telling me what to do, and it might be opposite of what I was thinking I was gonna do. Right. I want to do that. So we really have gotten, by giving that kind of a leeway into our conversations. And then something else that he likes to tell us about is the circles. Can you share that real quick? I think this would be beneficial. Just do it to yours.
Okay. Let's say you got two circles. You got a smaller circle and you got a larger circle. When it comes to emotion, as men, we have a smaller circle, and women, they have a larger circle. And if we look at that as a muscle, which means they have more room to flex emotion than us. So when our circle, as men, when our circle becomes fuller, we have less space in there to navigate, and so we kind of lose our mind. We lose a lot of our logical way of processing, doing as we normally would. Because that same amount of space being taken up in our circle is, it's not even half of their circle. Well, and the same thing happens logically. It's no frown on anybody. It's just, human nature of what some of the studies I've seen is that, men, we have a larger logical circle, and women have a slightly smaller circle. So we're able to take in more data, more information, and process on general before we become stressed, where they can have multiple things that are thrown at them, and if they don't have enough time to process it, they can become also stressed. And so, that's one of the things in which we have seen as being true, and we've come to recognize also to assist each other in navigating just stuff that comes about.
I like that.
Very much so. Very much so. I like that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I want to say, if you're normally tuning in with us every Sunday at 7 p.m., we normally end our show from 7 to 8 p.m. However, due to the gracious generosity of All Things Relevant Media, we have been granted an extra half an hour. So I hope you all can stay with us to continue the conversation.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Great. Mr. Hall, you have something to add to that?
Huh?
I was asking Mr. Hall to have something to add to the question.
I'd just like to say, I noticed my sister said she writes things down. It is no way I can write Julius Hall's comments when he's on the run, and everybody knows how hot-headed he could be. But one thing I can say, he's very sensitive to my feelings and caring and concern. And even when he goes on a rant, he can just look at me and tell from my body language whether or not I am in agreement with him. So he brings it down, and he's very attentive to my feelings and very sensitive towards me. So that it just, again, like I said, is balance is everything. Space is so important. When he gets riled up, it not necessarily an argument between the two of us. It can be something that's just going on in the community or whatever the case may be. I know how to give him his space, and at the same time, he knows how to be attentive to my needs as well.
And if she just walk out the door and slam it, then I know it's a problem. So I make adjustments accordingly. So
Okay. Now, let's ask this question. I know as married couples we do. So, do you make sacrifices for your relationship, to make it work? You know what I'm saying? Because I always say it like this. I feel like this. As individuals, we want to do certain things as individuals, but when you come together, you have to sacrifice certain things for your spouse to grow or get better or do what they need to do. Do you have a problem with that, or do you all do that? Hey, hold on. Time out.
What's going on, sis?
We got there we go.
Yay!
Always on time.
Now we got to start all the questions over. Now, I'm just playing. I can't say it. You know what I'm saying? When he was, I'm just playing. No. So we got Miss Maven in the house. You know what I'm saying? Tawana, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing, Reggie?
We good. We talking about sacrificing now. Spouses sacrificing for each other. Do y'all do that, or do married couples sacrifice for each other?
You want to start off?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think when you bring two people together, there are some sacrifices that have to be made, because, as you know, when you're single, you can get up, do what you want to do. You know what I mean? But when you're married, you have to talk to your spouse. Y'all have to come to some kind of agreement. You know what I mean? So your time is not yours all the time per se. So it has to be a union thing. You guys have to move together. So I think everybody I think to have anything out of life, you got to make sacrifices. I think marriage is also a sacrifice.
Oh yeah, I believe that. Ms. Lewis?
And she agrees with what I said. So
no, I don't. But it truly is. It's a give and take. Yeah, that's right. Look, Lavonia knows it's a give and take situation. So it's a compromise, and people who going in it is, they just really have to understand, and it takes understanding your partner, understanding what's beneficial for the relationship as a whole. And so I think it's a great compromise when you can get there.
I sacrificed a lot.
He's sacrificed.
I'm just joking. I want to get no trouble.
Melva, come get him.
Wow. No, it's a give and take. Absolutely. You have to learn how to fall back when you need to, how to jump in and do a little more when you need to. So it's a rhythm to this thing. You know what I'm saying? You got to jump in like double dutch. You got to make it smooth where it's rough. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta, just gotta feel out your spouse, and you gotta give what's necessary, because he could be tired. He could be, or I could be, so it's certain things that you have to do to compensate to get that thing back in balance. So it's absolutely, it's going to be some sacrifices made. You might not go hard all the time, or he may go hard all the time, but he can't do it always, and you can't do it always. So giving and taking, absolutely sacrifices.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think as men, our biggest sacrifice is time. Because as the brother stated earlier, you have to sacrifice time, because it's not just you anymore. It's a union. So once you have that union, you're not looking out for yourself, you're looking out for the whole team. So therefore, it's important to sacrifice your time and to be in tune with when you need your personal time, and when it's like, okay, I'm being selfish, like I need to spend time and be present and be in the moment.
Right.
Okay. Let me ask this question. It's not nothing that's written down. This is just me, doing a survey. So I have 3 sons, right? And I noticed as I had 3 sons, I see boys are dumber than girls. I will see it now. Back in the days I wouldn't see it. Boys are slower, or they don't get it fast as girls do.
I agree. Women mature faster.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So my daughter, she's 18 now, but when she was 14, 15, my older son, who was in his 20s, he was dumb as a box of rocks to me, compared to her. Then the one younger her was just as gullible and dumb. So women, as y'all see us, as y'all married us, grown with us, when y'all look at us, we make dumb mistakes. Do y'all think hey, this is a fool? This is, you train him to take care of me. How do y'all look at us on the serious tip? How do y'all look at us? Because we still make mistakes even as we're grown men. Y'all look at us like, okay, this fool here ain't got it. We mature slowly, y'all. We still ain't got the y'all. I see it like this: women are from God, men are from God, women are from God. Y'all close to God, so y'all have a spiritual aspect about y'all we don't have here, and y'all have a common sense aspect we don't have here. What do y'all think about it?
Well, I think for me, I do realize that women mature, a lot faster than men, and men have to be willing to accept that. So sometimes because we have that nurturing aspect of us, and because we mature so much faster, we do a lot of things just by our own innate ability to do so, and that's what we know to do. So I think that as long as you see the potential, because sometimes he does things and I'm like, come on now, I don't expect you to do that. But I also know I have to give him that flexibility and that longitude to do what he think is right, and I stand there to support him. And then we have that almost that conversation after the fact to say, now we could have done this a little different, and I would have expected you to do this. Or sometime in the midst of it, I just say, okay, let's stop, because this is not working for me. I need you to just quit. Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Hit the mute one, man. Hit the mute one.
That's right.
My hero and my twin.
That is so funny.
I totally agree with what you're saying as far as sometimes you would just go with it and see how it's going to turn out. Sometimes I have learned that he's more receptive to me telling him after the fact that wasn't a good idea. Sometimes I just go ahead, okay, let me go ahead, let you have your experience. And then afterwards I was like, when you told me about this, I was thinking this, and this. But I said, you know what, let me just let him go ahead.
Yeah.
Right.
See how it's going. Yeah. But yeah, but on the same aspect, one thing that I can appreciate about, I don't know if it's from his military experience or the way his parents brought him up, his way of creating systems and the way his brain works sometimes, it does amaze me. I mean, I can definitely say that there are times when I'm like, what? Yeah, he can do that too. But how did he come up with this? Like, like with making the products, he has like systems that he has built to help him to make the products and things that he's put in place. Like, I'm like, I don't even know how you came up with putting something like this or building it to this degree. So, yeah, our minds definitely work different as far as male and females, like we talked about earlier. So,
I agree. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Thanks. I think also it's a lot to do with growth, and the growth in your marriage, and the growth in the two of you knowing each other, because it's all about a trust factor. We can tell you, we can think or say something is not right, or we don't think you should do that, but if you don't trust your partner, then most of the times you're not going to go with that. So I think that it also has to do with trusting, being able to trust that your partner has your back.
Right.
Absolutely. That's true. What I was going to say with regard to that question with my husband, he's more the type that's going to measure twice, 3 times, and cut it once. I'm the one that's just like, oh, I look at it, bam, it's right. So a lot of times, what I'm saying, we have that dynamic. A lot of times, Rod is very much, he's a thinker. So he's looking at it like, okay, 15 steps ahead. I done checked this, I checked that, I checked that. He has a lot of his grandfather ingrained in him. I will say that, and that is true, and I mean it. He's very much a thinker. He's very cerebral in that way. So I trust him. When he tell me that this is what it's going to be, as a wife, I stand in the gap and I go, let's do it. Like, we're going to roll with it. Let's roll with it. I'm 10 toes down, 100%. We're going to do it. So, but with me, it shouldn't be that way, because I look at it like, oh, look right, bam, and I just do it. So, I trust him more.
So then I got to come back with the ruler and keep measuring 3 and 4 times.
Right. He's very deliberate in that, I'll say. So yeah, I have it opposite, I guess, guys. Sorry.
Okay.
Mine goes this way. It just depends on what it is.
Yeah.
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 Definitely.
I trust him with certain things that I know. I'm like, hey, you got to figure this one out. I cannot.
Right.
Like that. And there are times when he'll come to me and be like, okay, what are you thinking? You know? So it just really is that. And it's nice to be able to have that person to bounce it off of, what I really appreciate. You know, that you have someone that you can trust, that you can bounce those ideas off of, and that you can say the craziest thing that might pop up in your head, and they will help you to understand, you know, how it may be crazy or not crazy or whatever. But there's no, girl, you crazy. I don't know why you thinking that. You know, there's none of that type of energy. You can just have that conversation no matter how extreme. You can dream as big, at least with us. I can dream as big as I want to dream. I can say like the wildest things that I would love to do.
And I'm helping her make it.
And then you're like, okay, let's figure this out. So
Yeah. I think that's very important to help your spouse live their dream or go through a journey with them. You know, so if you have a dream, you have to go with them, and it should be you helping them get there, motivate them. You know, because like I say, that's your best friend. Should be your best friend. You want to see your best friend do well. You know, if you're right there with them, you're going to enjoy the dream. It's going to make it better for you. Again, what you got? You got a question?
If I see these glasses that below that nose, and he's quiet, and he's on that phone or computer, I said, oh God, let me check Facebook. He must be on to something.
Hey, I might be wrong, but I doubt it. I know it's about to be some fire in the city right there.
I said, somebody has released the Kraken. And sometimes I have to call his daughter and say, somebody has released the Kraken, come get him. He is on a rampage. When those glasses get on set on that nose and it's quiet, I said, oh Lord, what is going on in the city of Savannah? And then sometimes before he posts, he will let me see it. I said, you can't say that. I said, you can't say that. You gotta fix that. I don't ever.
I got one coming out. I'm gonna let y'all know I got one coming out, and it's going to all the pastors. So y'all be on alert. Pastors, y'all are on my radar.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Get on. From the pulpit. I'm sorry, my bad.
Hey, so have you started to do something because of each other's influence? So have your spouse influenced you to, you know, change in a different way, you know, in your lifetime, in your marriage? You know, you were wrong. You change. Anybody?
Well, I have to say this. When I retired, I stayed on the telephone all the time, talking about what's going on with the school system and just discussing it. So my husband says, why don't you run for school board? I say, no way. I'm not running for school board. I'm just used to being an educator. He said, but you're always on the phone talking about what's going on in the community, you know. So he really influenced me and encouraged me to run for school board. Without him, I would not be sitting on the school board. I'm telling you that now. That was the last thing on my mind was to get into politics, and I still don't consider it as politics. I consider it as a passion for what I do.
Yeah.
Well, I would say he has influenced me. He's a great organizer and a time manager. When I met him, I just flew by the seat of my pants. And he was so structured to everything had to be just so and in order. And still to this day, I'm trying to work on my time management and organizing. Like right now, you know, we actually, I convinced him to turn one of our bedrooms into a walk-in closet for me. Because I have so much.
Did it do?
And
did it help you get ready on time, right?
Oh, no.
So I thought that would help me organize all my stuff and get rid of some things. Well, his closet is organized and mine's is still a mess. And I tell him every day I'm going to get organized. And so I'm working toward that. because when I walk through his closet and I see how organized his closet is, I'm like, why can't I be that organized? But he's getting me there, and he's trying to motivate me to go back to school. And I'm being hard-headed. I'm not listening to that because I feel like, my experience and what I'm doing pays me very, very well versus taking some time off to go back to school. Now, granted, I'm pretty sure that I could be making even more money, but it's not about the money for me. It's about just doing what I love, regardless. So, but I'm getting on the wagon of trying to take one class to finish that degree that he's so much encouraging me to start and complete.
I can say she's a much harder worker than I am. I might be a little bit more organized and structured for my military background, but she's a really hard worker. And being retired from the military, it's a little easier. What we do and how we do it. She gets up every day and goes to work, and I admire that. It's hard work, and it actually pushes me to want to do more than this. I telework a lot and to sit in and continue to stay where I'm at. So she's been motivating me and influenced me to start businesses and go out and help people and give more of myself to other people. So she's a really big influence on that, just being a hard, tireless worker every day.
Okay. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was organized, but my wife is really the organized one. Anything that goes on with the household and the appointment, anything that needs to be made, she makes it. You know what I mean? And she's made me a better person financially. Because for a long time, I flew by the seat of my pants. I'm there just doing what I wanted to do. I knew I was gonna get another check, but she set me down and we looked at the long term effect. So I've gotten a whole lot better with my finances in that regard. And she has lupus, so to see her work as hard as she does, that makes me want to work that much harder. I have no excuse. She has one if she chooses to use it, but she's not. So I think that's what did it for me.
Oh, that's cool.
I think the beautiful thing about this program and the questions, the one thing that I did notice is that all of us seem to have a prosperous, successful relationship. And the one key thing that keeps coming up in my mind is balance. What we talked about is she does one thing, I do the opposite. And the same with everyone that's on this screen here. So I think that's very important for the young people who are listening and who will listen. You have to find a spouse that is your balance. I cannot stress hard enough that if you are off balance, you're off kilter, your foundation will not be strong. You will not grow. You have to have somebody to say, "No, that's too much. You need to calm down," or "You need to pick it up. You slack." You know what I mean? So I thank you, brothers, for allowing this program to happen. I think it's very beneficial to the community. And kudos and congrats to y'all. Big up, Black Power.
We're not closing out yet, though, brother.
I'm just saying. I just want to listen. I'm thinking you about to go eat.
Nothing else.
All jokes aside, though, man, I wanted to give y'all flowers while y'all are still here. You know what I mean? So I think that's very important that y'all get y'all props. And that was all I was doing. That was it.
And I want to caveat off of that. I think that's why some and it's very unpopular what I'm about to say, but if you know me, you know I'm gonna say it. I think that's why some brothers don't want to mess with black women. You got some weak brothers who want to do what they want to do. They don't want to be pushed. You know what I mean? A black woman is going to challenge you to be a better person. You know what I mean? They're the only ones that I know of that will do that. So if you don't want to be challenged, and if you're a weak black man, you will not get with a sister, and I think that's the problem. So
that's because the black woman is God.
Like that.
Hey.
That's because the black woman is God. God gonna challenge you every single time.
Yeah.
We birth nations, sister.
Absolutely.
We birth nations.
Mothers of the planet. That's what mothers do. They raise. They comfort. They nurture.
That's right.
There you
Them
go.
feet to the fire.
I like that. Like you said that. So you think about the world we live in, the universe we live in. It's always challenging, even if you by yourself. It's challenging. God has always challenged you. So a woman is going to challenge you. You know, better than you what you were. You know, so that's the beautiful thing. I like that. I like when you said that. Let's see. We got time for a couple more questions. Let me see. The next one I want to ask. Okay, this one. How often do you talk on the phone with your when you're away with your spouse, even when you're in the town with your spouse? How often do you call her or call him? But no, fellas. How often do you call your spouse and talk to her on the phone? You know, like when you was dating, you want to holler at her, want to hear from you. How often we do that? I do it. I try to do it. You know, in the morning when I get to work, I try to keep it on my brain. At lunchtime, something like that, just to let her know I'm thinking about her. What about y'all? Just for the fellas.
I don't talk to my wife at all when I'm away from her.
Yeah.
When I'm gone, I'm gone. I'm just
hey, you want to be in the house right now?
Hey, what you say? Cause absence makes the heart grow fonder.
You know what I mean? No, but we talk quite a bit. I think it's very important to realize in a marriage that sometimes you fall in and sometimes you fall out of love. You know what I mean? And when you're in love like we are, then I call her all the time. I call in the morning, say, hey, you up yet? Because I leave early what you do. And I call at lunch and we'll wrap it up. Or I call on my way home, which is a very important call, so I won't have to go back out as soon as I get home. But I think we talk quite a bit. You know, she's my friend. If something happens, I want to tell her first.
There you go.
Yeah, I agree. We do the same thing, and I think it may be our upbringing.
Yeah.
It's like we always check on the ones that we care about the most. So we communicate and talk all throughout the day, whether it's a quick text, a wave, what you doing, WID, you know, all of those things. So it's like we talk definitely on the way home. I tell her to call me when you get to work, call me when you get to the car, you about to hop in. I know that you made it safe. So,
yeah. All of that. I check on him if he's driving through bad weather. Hey, you got there safely. You know, you just gotta check up. You know, you check up on them. That's just what you're supposed to do. It's normal. It feels very normal to do it. You know, you care about them. You let them know you're thinking about them. You want something special from the store. If you're out, from having to go out. You know, that type of thing. Or often.
Sometimes I could be out shopping, and he has a radar. And my phone will ring. He said, "Put that down." I'm like,
yeah. You already know.
Where you at? I mean, it never fails. If I'm in the mall, I get a call from Julius Hall, and he says, "Put that down." I'm like, I just can't believe this.
Because I know you're in the store. She always in the store somewhere, so I know. Let me call because I ain't heard from her in an hour, so I know she's somewhere spinning something. Hey, let me tell y'all something. When she know I'm home, she'll ride up and she parks in the garage. I park in the driveway. And so she'll see my car home. So I caught her a couple of times. She don't take the bags out until I'm not able to see her bring them upstairs. She'll go back and get them after a while. So yeah, man, it's crazy.
Moral of the story is check the closet, fellas. Check the closet.
I don't want him to see a surprise, so that's why I don't bring the bags up.
New with tags on it. Oh, I've been had that. That's old.
Let me tell you what she says. She says, "Oh, baby, look at this. I got it on sale." They were practically giving it away.
Yep.
That's Anthony.
it was on sale. I had to get it.
Yes.
But you know what the weird thing about Julius, he doesn't spend money at all. I buy everything from his socks to everything. He doesn't spend. He doesn't shop for himself. He doesn't. He just does not spend money. He doesn't have time to do it. So everything that you see him wearing, I actually had to go out and get it. Because he doesn't buy anything for himself. Doesn't shop for anything. Not even his cologne.
See, I shop for Anthony.
Oh, man,
Electronics person. So he will sneak and buy everything. See, I don't do Amazon. I don't do online. Anthony shops everything on Amazon. So his clothes, everything I will shop for. But Anthony is a behind the closet shopper and will have packages coming every day.
It's my kind of guy.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yep. Y'all related. And y'all related.
I got so good with the UPS man, he was hiding my boxes for me.
Hey, look here, player, put it in the backyard.
Right. Just like the brother said about balance.
Yeah.
Now, as we can sit here and listen, I couldn't be married to him because we'll be broke. Because he loves to shop. I like to shop.
He's balanced.
You gotta have balance, sis. You gotta have balance.
Y'all both can't do that, right?
Right. Well, the question about talking on the phone when we were away from each other doesn't. It's not an issue for us because we're together. You know, so often. You know, both businesses we work from home. If we got something where we need to travel and something needs to be done, you know, we both do it.
I was sitting here thinking, I was like, outside of going to the grocery store or taking the kids somewhere, I never, and then I call him too if I'm in the store, but, you know, if I want to find him, I go in his office. And so we're together all the time.
So y'all's a little different.
Yeah.
And I would say we talk every day. 3-4 times a day, like some of you all do now. We'll just call. I'll call him when I get to work. I call him during my lunch break. I call him when I'm leaving work. I call him if I have to stay at work. I call him to see if he's going to the store or at the gym, or he'll call me and say, "Hey, I'm leaving. I'm going to the gym." So we talk regularly every day, 3-4 times a day. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I don't even want to call no more. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Just know that.
What she left out is that she'll call me and tell me she's coming home, right? But she don't come straight home. She go to the store and then she's there for a couple hours. Like, okay, I thought you said you was coming home. So then, I stopped off here. So.
And he do the same exact thing. He'll leave the gym and he'll tell me, "Oh, I went and got you a smoothie, and I also stopped at TJ Maxx, and then I was looking for something. Oh, and just like he would say, and I got this on sale. You won't believe how much I spent." And I'm like, "Really, honey? You been at the store 3 hours after the gym? Okay." But he bought me a smoothie though. He didn't buy me nothing from TJ Maxx.
So do you all call because you feel like you have to call, or do you call because it's natural and you want to?
I call to annoy her.
Just sharing. We share each other. Just the time, what's going on. I think someone said it about, being in tune with each other and just sharing something, whether it's something with the kids, whether it's something at work. Just kind of, whatever we have, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, just always communicating. And it's not a program or a time, just whenever it feels right. Sometimes we don't talk at all the whole day because she's working a lot, I'm doing something, and then we'll pick it back up. But sometimes we talk 4 or 5 times a day. It's no set time,
I think we do that because that's how our relationship started. We would call each other, when we had a moment to talk. So we would call during lunch breaks if he was on lunch. And this when we were dating. So, and it continued throughout our marriage. It's like, hey, let me just call you and let you know what I'm doing and where I'm at, just in case, because sometimes things do change, especially for me and what I do. And sometimes I may have to stay at work late. So I just want him to know, just in case, if I'm on my way home and something should happen, to be expecting me to be home at that certain time. However, things do happen, accidents, and I just want him to always know. So it's not because, it's by choice that we do it or I do it.
One thing is, she's a terrible texter. Do not text her, or if you text her, it'll be an argument because she's not going to respond back for the next couple of days.
That is true. And that's because I feel like if it's important, you call me. Don't text me. Call me. I will not respond probably 3 days later. And they say, "You got no text?" Nope.
In response,
why you didn't call me?
That's so funny.
Yeah, I'm coming to the job. That's all.
Let me tell you something. He will pull up. I'm gonna just leave it right there. He pulls up. Okay. Let me not answer my phone.
Right.
And everybody in here could get it. His
That's
wife,
right.
where she at?
That's
He
right,
gonna
Rob.
pull up.
That's it. That's what you do.
And
I'm gonna share Walmart down.
It's gonna be down. It's gonna be rubble. If I'm not up in there, it's
From the greeter to the pharmacist, it's getting shut down.
You can't play like that. You can't play with my husband like that.
I got Mr. Jones got to get it.
Right.
2 hours. Let it be 3. I'm knocking the door.
Yeah, so for security purposes, I make sure that I do text him because I go to people's houses. So I do text him, their address, and I usually try to give him a time frame because I already know if I don't, then he will show up wherever I am.
He will pull up. Yes.
Me and Betty.
Actually, yes. I have this watch now that I got for Christmas because I work in a hospital. I'm busy. I have patients. Whatever's going on, I gotta look at my watch and say something because he needs to know that I'm. I know you have no reason to not dig in your purse and answer the phone. It's on your arm. So you know what I'm saying. That's what happens.
There you go. Let me tell you, that is a whole nother conversation.
The reason.
I called you. And you ain't called me back. It's different for women. Oh, it's simple as the phone was in my purse.
It is.
But when we answer that call, it's a national emergency.
Yeah.
Where
you at? What you doing? Why you answer my call? Yeah.
Hey.
I'm in the
in my purse. I can't hear it all the time.
I can't either.
Yeah. Hey, so we got like 3 minutes left. I want all the couples to give me like 30 seconds of, this is Black love at its finest, right? So a lot of our folks don't get to see this because, a lot of Black men and women are not married because of whatever reasons. What's the one thing you can say about what keeps y'all married, what keeps your marriage going, and how to be successful at marriage?
I'll start off. She listens to me.
Good woman.
No. We are friends first before we anything else. We have a good time with each other. We got old movies and lines we quote with each other, and we're just friends and we have fun with each other. So I think that's what keeps us going. If nobody else in the world got my back, I know she got it. Say again?
And she bowled better than you. So anyway.
Yeah. That's right. Dumb Reggie.
You had to go there.
So I think for us, we follow the 3 C's, and it's not color, cut, and clarity, ladies. It's communication, compromise, and change. So if you can do those 3 things, your marriage will sustain and prosper.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's us. 3 C's.
There you go.
I would say for us, we respect who we are as a person. I let him be who he is, and he let me be who I am, because that's important, not to lose yourself in a relationship or a marriage, is to make sure that, you still be creative and be able to do some of the things that you like to do, and me as well. And then we take care of our children. We are on one accord when it comes to our children. It's like we don't disagree. We come together and decide, everything that's going to take place, in our children's lives, in our lives, and things like that. So I think that's what we do.
Awesome.
Right, beautiful.
If you wanna do right all day, you woman, gotta be a do right all night man. And that's how I close that.
That's how you shut it down. That's how you
That's what I'm talking about.
And as well as everything that everyone else has said, we've recognized that those things that work for us, regardless if they work for other folks or if they don't, it doesn't matter. It's what makes it work for us to get the results that we want.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Hey, this has been a wonderful show, a beautiful show. We can have a part 2 and 3 and 4 about this.
Do it. We're here.
Once a month. Because people need to see this. Black folks married and working through marriage. I'm saying marriage is not an easy thing. It's very difficult, and you have to change your mind. It's a mind state more than anything. What people need to see is we need to have this more often in our communities. Since COVID is going on, we need to do. Again, you got something else to add?
I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to join us tonight and being candid and being vulnerable with us tonight. I really appreciate it. You just don't know how much I appreciate you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for
You
inviting
got me in trouble.
Absolutely.
Nice
Thank
meeting
you.
everybody. Y'all can stay on. Y'all can stay on 2 minutes after it ends for a quick wrap up.
Okay.
All right. We'll see y'all later.
All right now.
All right, thank y'all.
Thank
All right.
you.